neither a borrower nor a lender be. We've all heard the advice. We've also seen it in action. Most of us have seen a family member or friend crushed by debt payments. But here's the secret the wealthy don't want you to know. Massive amounts of debt are exactly how they build their wealth. How do they do it? A few simple strategies, and one or two complicated ones. Let's start by clarifying the most important thing. The one thing that the rich understand and most people don't. There is bad debt and good debt. I know, it sounds crazy. Most of us think of debt as this massive bill I have to pay every month that means I can't eat out as much as I'd like to. That's because we're stuck making money to pay off debt, while the rich use debt to make the money. Here's the difference. The rich get good debt, which is debt used to purchase things that will make you more money. Specifically, more money than you'll have to pay back on the loan. This is also called efficient debt because it's returning more than it's taking away. Bad or inefficient debt is any debt that won't make you money in the long run, either because it costs too much in interest, it was too risky, or the thing you purchased with it loses value over time. Here are some classic examples of bad debt we're all familiar with. Your car loan. As soon as you drive off the lot, your car is worth less than the loan, and it's only going to be worth less and less over time. Credit cards. The interest rate on a credit card is too high, and it's usually used to purchase regular consumer goods, which you eat or use up, and don't make you any money back. Predatory lenders with huge interest rates, like car title loans or payday advances. These loans are designed to take advantage of you and be nearly impossible to pay back, so you have to give up assets to the lender. Don't do these if you can help it. Instead, here are a few examples of good debt. Mortgages or loans to invest in real estate. Property generally appreciates over time, meaning it gains value, meaning it makes you wealthier if you own it. Surprisingly enough, student loans are also an example of good debt, most of the time. That's because a student loan should increase your earning potential over the course of your life. So if you get a student loan and it allows you to earn more money after graduation than you otherwise would have, and you earn enough to pay off the loan, that's good debt. It comes down to this simple equation. Does the thing you purchase with the loan make you more money than you have to pay while paying off the loan? If so, it's good debt. And that's the type of debt that makes a well-off person into a multi-millionaire. Let's get into the specific strategies now. The first is borrowing to invest, or gearing. This is when you borrow money in order to purchase something that will appreciate over time, like stocks or real estate. This strategy can be extremely profitable, but also very risky. Your investments have to make more than you pay for the loan, otherwise it's not worth it. One good thing is that if you need to pay back the lender, but you're not making enough, they can take the asset you purchased with the loan to help. Of course, this means you no longer own that asset and it can't make you any money, so you have to be careful with this method. Usually it works best with a diversified portfolio. What is a diversified portfolio? Your portfolio is all of your investments combined. To diversify it means to have investments in a number of things. This minimizes risk because even if one stock fails, others will probably go up, balancing out your gains and losses. Many wealthy people use this as a method to diversify in the first place. For example, a private business owner will own all the shares in their business, but you don't want your portfolio to be all one thing. If their business goes under, they're out of luck, so they'll take out a loan to purchase stock in other businesses. This means even if their own business takes a dip, they're still making money on their other stock. So as long as their combined portfolio makes more than their interest on the loan, they're good. Their total wealth will keep moving upward. It's great to use this for real estate. You can buy property using a loan to sell when it's worth more, or you can buy a property using debt to turn into a rental property. As long as the rental income is worth more than what you're paying on the loan, you're making a profit and increasing your wealth. There's a slight variation on this strategy called leverage. When you leverage an investment, you use your own cash for part and a loan for another part. This will result a higher profit for you. Let's do the math on this. Let's say you're making a $100 investment on a stock with a 10% return. I know you never know a stock's return in advance, but let's use this nice round number to make it easy on me. If you put up 100 of your own dollars, you'll make $10, 10% on your initial investment. Let's say you leverage half the investment, so you put up 50 of your own money and get a loan for the rest, for a total of $100. You'll still make 10% at the end of it, but that's a 20% return on what you spend of your own money. That's twice as good as funding it with your own cash. Of course, this only works if the interest rate of the loan is less than the return on the stock, but if it is, you'll increase your profits. You can use this strategy in real estate with BRRRR. No, I'm not really cold. This is buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat, real estate investment cycle. This is a method that can take some time to learn, but it is a great way to buy homes quickly and grow wealth. You start with buying a distressed property at reduced cost. Then you rehab the property and rent it out. Now you're earning rent income from the property, but you don't stop there. You can get a cash out refinance for a boost of funds that you can then use to invest in more properties. Make smart choices and keep this process flowing, and it'll grow like crazy. But it's not for beginners. In the world of stockbrokers, this is also called buying on margin. This is when you get a loan from your brokerage, the guy who buys stocks for rich people, and then use the money from the loan to invest in more stocks. So from the investor's end, you use $10 to buy $100 worth of stocks. This works great most of the time, so long as the overall return covers the cost of the loan. It's a great way to get higher returns. However, with most margin accounts, if your profits fall below a certain point, you have to pay the brokerage to cover the loan. So it's necessary to have other sources of cash just in case. There's one other perk of all this debt. It means billionaires can manage to own the world, but pay no taxes. How do they manage that? There are a lot of tax loopholes that use varying levels of legality, but the way that rich use debt to avoid taxes is totally legit, as of now anyway. Here's the trick. You only pay taxes on income, not on everything you own. You might have $1 billion in assets, but you'll never have to pay taxes on it if you never sell it and turn it into cash. But how does that benefit you? If you can't sell it, then you can't buy other stuff with it, right? Not exactly. Your assets aren't taxable, but they can be used as collateral for loans. Collateral is something pledged as security for repayment of a loan. You're basically promising the bank that if you don't pay back the loan on time, they can take the collateral from you. That means that a billionaire who owns $4 million in stock in a company can use that stock to get a loan. They don't even have to give up the stock. They just have to own it, and the bank will give them the loan, since the stock shows that they are good for it if the bank has to call in on the loan. The wealthy can then use that loan for their expenses instead of selling stocks to pay for it. This means that they can keep their asset, which continues to generate more net worth for them while also spending lots of money from the bank. The best part, the loans are not taxable. So a billionaire can get a $100 million private jet using a bank loan because they have millions of dollars in stocks and buy their jet without having to pay a penny in taxes. Except sales tax. The billionaire will eventually have to pay back the loan, but they can do it slowly over time without selling off a chunk of their portfolio. They can use other debt, stock dividends, or other smaller sources of income to pay the loan without the big tax hit that would have come from selling their stocks. Plus, those stocks continue to gather wealth for them even as they fly across the world in their shiny private jet. In fact, the wealthiest people in the world are living entirely on debt. It's all thanks to the practice of collateral. Another related strategy is debt recycling. This is when you convert non-tax deductible debt into tax deductible debt. For instance, a personal loan is not tax deductible, so interest payments on that $100 million loan for the private jet wouldn't be deductible. However, interest paid on mortgages, student loans, and businesses are deductible. This means that if our hypothetical billionaire owns a $100 million home, they can convert the equity and take out a mortgage on that home and use that money to pay off personal loan for their jet. Now, not only will they be paying a lower interest rate on the mortgage than they would have on a personal loan, but they can deduct the full amount of their interest payments from their taxes. This saves even more money, which can then be used to get more money. The key is diversification and focusing on good debt. The rest is a great big snowball made of money.